Why is compound interest the biggest lie sold to poor people and what to do instead? So we've all heard this line, Shashank, just invest 5,000 rupees every month and let compound interest do its magic. And one day you will surely be a crorepati. Now it sounds like a dream that you work hard, put some money away and let time do the heavy lifting. But here's the actual truth that nobody is telling you, and compound interest is actually a big lie sold to the middle class people. And in today's video, I'll prove it to you with numbers, with the Indian context and real life events that actually break the compound interest fantasy. More importantly, I will show you what to do as well in this video. So before we start this video, I want to give a big shout out to Grow for sponsoring this network so that we can come and give such amazing content to you guys with such an amazing studio as well. So thank you for that. You can check out the Grow app. The link is in the description below. Now let's start with the classic example. You're 25 years old and someone comes and tells you, listen boss, if you invest 5,000 rupees every month for the next 35 years at 12% return, by the time you're 60, you'll have 3.5 crores. Now you're so happy that 3.5 crores is amazing. The chart looks like a rocket ship and you start reading Warren Buffett books. And that's the dream banks, finance books and influencers usually love to sell. But if it was that simple, why are most people in their 50s still not rich? Because here's the actual problem that people don't put in their Excel sheets, and that is real life comes and hits you hard. Now let's look at inflation first. Average inflation in India is around 6 to 7%. So if you make a return of 12%, then net of inflation, you're at 5%. That means 1 crore today will be approximately 25 to 30 lakhs only in the next 30 years. So your 3.5 crores that you were dreaming about at 60 is basically like having maybe 75 lakhs to 1 crore today. Now it's not bad, but it's not exactly the rich lifestyle the compound interest chart basically promised you. Now add life events into this picture and you have a very different story. Because at the age of 28, 30, you're going to get married and you're suddenly earning 40,000 a month and there is a 10 to 15 lakh expense. And guess where that money comes from? It either comes via your savings or a beautiful loan that you will take out, and that starts breaking your compounding chain. Now you might say, okay Shashank, finally marriage is over. Now I have finished all my expenses. Now let's go back into SIP mode. Then your wife will come and tell you that, you know what Shashank, we need to buy a home. And now you're 32, 35. Now let's say you want to buy a flat of 80 lakhs and you just put 16 lakh down payment, which is 20% of the home loan. And suddenly, instead of investing 5,000 every month, you're paying EMI of 35,000 every month. Now your SIP obviously stops and your compound interest again dream has broken again. Now again, you are back into base one. Now you work very hard and start removing all of those expenses. But then you start having kids where school fees, which is very expensive by the way, medical expenses, and later on college education will start. And in India, even a private college degree can cost anywhere between 20 to 30 lakhs into the future. Again, money has to either flow out from your investment to fund your real life goals. Even my son, who is now 1.5 years old, is going to a play school and the fees there is approximately 1 to 2 lakhs. It's insane, right? Now in all this, I have not even caught emergencies, which is the absolute unknown. The one which is the most brutal, and one medical emergency without insurance can wipe out years of compounding in 2 seconds. So basically what happens? That smooth exponential line you saw on the compound interest chart actually looks more like a staircase with holes in it, and you keep feeling, why am I not able to save? And you start withdrawing from this fund, you start resetting the fund and you keep starting again. And this is where India's biggest problem is, because most of the people in India do not continue their SIPs more than 3 years. Now, if you think I'm just lying and giving you negativity, let's do some real life calculation. Suppose you're 25 years of age. You start investing 10,000 per month into a mutual fund at an SIP average of 12%. Now, by 60, you could have around 7 crores. Now, with inflation adjusted, that is still bad, but let's assume that is okay for now. Now, let's start factoring your real life scenarios. For marriage, you will have stopped investing for 2 years between 28 to 30. Now that already reduces your final corpus by 80 lakhs. Just 2 years reduces your corpus by 80 lakhs. Now if I start factoring in home loan, again between 32 to 42, you will reduce your SIP from 10,000 to just 3,000, assuming you will still continue it, because EMI would take first priority. Again, your reduction would be approximately 1.5 crores. Now coming to my beautiful kids' education. Now you withdraw 20 lakhs at the age of 45 because they get into private colleges, and that reduces the final amount by another 1 crore, and that money never compounds. And then, God forbid, touch wood, that you have some medical emergency, another 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs would again go off there, and that would reduce it by another 40 lakhs. And in all this, I've not even caught your international vacations, the marriage that you have to do for your child, and all other factors, right? Now, instead of 7 crores, you would actually retire with around 3.5 crores. And in real terms, after inflation, that's barely 1 crore in today's money. And there is no way you're going to retire at 1 crore with no active income. So now do you see how the magic of compounding actually collapses as soon as real life enters the equation? So why do the poor fall for it so much, and why is compound interest heavily marketed? Because it sells hope. It makes the poor and middle class actually believe that if you save a little bit, one day you'll be rich. But the truth is, compounding only works, listen to this very carefully, if you have an uninterrupted, decade-long investing. For compounding to actually happen, you have to wait for 25 years and you cannot touch the money. So if you don't touch the money for 30 to 40 years, that is when you will see compounding coming into the picture. And to offset all your problems in real life, you have to earn enough so that it doesn't force you to withdraw from these mutual funds. So basically, in all reality, compounding usually works best when you're rich or moderately rich. So now coming to the question, Shashank, what to do instead of this? I know I understand all of this, but tell me, how do we solve this problem? Now, if compound interest is not enough, where is the real solution? It's not blindly compounding, okay? It's about planning for life events. And here's a framework that you can use. Now, first of all these plans can be done in advance because you've seen your parents doing. Now, first things first was an emergency fund, which all of you guys will be like, Shashank, again, emergency fund, so boring. People don't understand this and everyone hates this. But this is what helps compounding the most. Because before any SIP, if you build at least 6 months of expenses in a liquid fund or FD or short-term arbitrage fund or an equity savings fund, whenever an emergency happens, whatever it is, you will not touch your SIP and that SIP can continue growing. Second, I know most of you guys have insurances, but if you don't have it, it is a non-negotiable asset, right? You have to have health insurance for your family. You have to have a term life insurance for yourself. A lot of people also have this belief that, Shashank, I will do SIP and after 30, 40 years, this term life insurance is waste. But what if you go off now in 10 years in the gym? Then you cannot do that, right? So you need the money upfront. So this is why it becomes very important to keep a health insurance and a term life insurance, not too much, but enough to support any medical bill. Now coming to bucket investing approach. Instead of just doing one single SIP till 60 plan, break your money into different buckets. And this is something smart people do very well. They have 3 different pools. One is a short-term pool, which is my plan for 0 to 5 years. Here, I will use debt funds for goals like marriage, vacation, and some gadget I want to buy. Up to you, depends on your fancy, right? Second would be a medium-term goal. I know, thoda time mein aa raha hai abhi, kids education is coming. So here, I will start using balanced advantage funds, bonds to actually take up these kids education. So that way, I'm not too much on this side, not too much on that side. Now coming to your long term, which is, boss, I want to retire, I want to go to Hawaii and sit down, sit on a beach and have some drinks. So for that, you need to do equity SIPs, which is mainly for your retirement, and that will go on for 27-30 years, right? This way, you don't have to pull out money off your retirement investment every time life gives you a bouncer. And trust me, life will give you 50 bouncers, right, in your life. If you want, you can check your parents. They've got 100 bouncers already and they're still defending everything, right? So basically, another factor that people do is step up SIPs. You have heard about this. Don't just invest 5,000 rupees for 30 years. Increase your investment as your salary grows. But in India, what we do, we increase our EMI as our salary grows. The minute my salary grows, I'm like, you know what, we should take another house. You know what, one more car we'll take. You know what, that iPad looks amazing. So instead of increasing increasing your SIP, you actually increase your EMI. And if you are very conjuice in your early years, then you can actually enjoy in your later years. So first things first, focus on cash flow, not just the corpus you've built. Because at retirement, it's not about showing this big number I have. It's about whether your investments can generate enough monthly income for you to sustain a lifestyle at that point. And that's why planning for rental income, bond income, annuity income is as equal to planning as compounding. Now, I'm not saying don't go buy a house. You have to buy a house and keep it for a long period of time. But use house as investment assets instead of using house as a depreciating asset. So wait, is compound interest very useless? No, it is very powerful, but only if you combine it with proper financial planning. Because on its own, compound interest is a fairy tale. In real life, it only works for you if you protect those investments from all problems in life. Marriages, kids, home emergencies, 100 other emergencies, brother emergency, sister emergency. That is what mainly matters. And the real secret is actually not compounding. The real secret is actually sticking to it with discipline and not going and dipping into that basket. Now, I want to ask you, what is that one life event, and be honest with me, what is that one life event that you think will break your compounding journey today? Is it a house, wedding, or kids? And I'll tell you my biggest problem. I have to buy a house very soon, and I know that is going to screw up my compounding big time. So now I've already created 2-3 different approaches to actually buy that house so that I don't dip into my SIP pool. So again, I hope you found this breakdown eye-opening, and hit like if you like this, and also subscribe this with some friends of yours who also like no-nonsense financial truths. Because if you really want to become rich, then these are some of the tools that you have to use. Or else you can continue how life is and you can still click on the subscribe button. So again, I want to give a big shout out to Grow for sponsoring this channel. And if you have any doubts, any questions on investing, you can check out the Grow app. The link is in the description below. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye bye.